Hi, my name is George Edward Crouch, and a lot of my friends call me Eddie. And I have a story to tell about the Fatherhood Support Network. Um, let's see. And I guess my story begins back in October 2015. And my wife and I, we were going through a separation, and for about a year, pretty much that entire year, we were sort of undecided on what to do because my wife was born in a different country, Trinidad to be exact, and she wanted to basically go back home and she wanted to take the kids. And my kids were born and raised here in the United States, and I was completely against that. So she was kind of in between a rock and a hard place as to what to do because she wanted to separate, yet she wanted to take the kids back to her country. So of course, I couldn't keep her. I couldn't force her to stay. So I told her, I said, you can leave, but you can't take the kids. And so anyway, on October the 9th, 2015, um, let me back up a little bit. Well, yeah, I guess that's fine. On October the 9th, 2015, I was at work, and I received a text from her saying that she and the kids were in Trinidad and that she wasn't coming back. Um, that moment, I words really can't explain just how devastated I was because my sons mean the world to me. Back then, they were about 8 and 5, and now they're 10 and 6. And I'm a very involved parent. I'm not one of these guys who sees their kids maybe once a couple of weeks or once a month or some guy who's just a workaholic and you kind of just paying the bills. No, I'm very active, and when she took my sons, and when I got that text message that she had taken the boys, I was just absolutely devastated. I was at work, and I just had to leave work that day, and I kind of took a couple of weeks off because I work in mental health, believe it or not. So my mental health was out of whack because of it. After a day or two of just trying to pull my thoughts together and collect myself, I started contacting lawyers, and I contacted several people, and it was just, the expense of trying to fight a legal international battle it's really a rich person's undertaking, because if you don't have the money, and I'm talking about at least $100,000 or more in your account, you're basically at the mercy of the government or whoever can intervene. And so that's where I was. I'm not a rich person in the least, and I was just at my wit's end. So I was, let's see, I had contact one of the lawyers who was nice enough to actually give me the advice to fill out an application for the Hague Convention. And the Hague Convention is a treaty that was signed by approximately 80 different countries that deal with international kidnapping, which my wife did because she took the kids without my permission. But the problem being is that because we were still married, she could legally do that in a sense, but I would have to pursue and fight it and say that she did it without my permission. The kids were born and raised here in the U.S., which is what I ended up doing. During that time, especially for the first month, I was contacting a lot of family and friends, and I got a lot of great advice, and I contacted a very close family friend by the name of Lazan Smith, and she connected me with Stanley Williams at the Fatherhood Support Network. And Stanley was just a breath of fresh air in the Fatherhood Support Network. Helping me as a mental health professional myself, just giving me the encouragement, putting me in the direction of really some great legal help and legal advice, and kind of just staying with me every step of the way, being just a confidant, someone I could call on like a brother, and just vent and get a lot of my frustration out, and really just being an open book as to his experience, the experience that he's had with other fathers in my similar predicament, and just willing to be a fantastic individual. Let's see, to make a long story short, in 2000, because of the Hague application, I was able to file for the return of my children. And in July 2016, actually on my birthday, July the 9th, and ironically, it was 9 months to the date that she took the kids. So I had a 9 theme happening on the 9th, 9/9. My birthday was the 9th of July. I was able to go to Trinidad to pick up my children. And part of the reason why I was able to do that is because of the Fatherhood Support Network. Without Stanley Williams and the Fatherhood Support Network, I don't know if I'd be able to successfully put a bid in for the Hague Treaty, He got me in contact with a great legal team in Emily Stevens in Las Vegas, and she was just so brilliant and so savvy, and she knew so much about the law, and when I needed to write dispositions and in reference to my case, she was completely on it. And I mean, at something that I think was definitely affordable and agreeable, that just a working class person like myself could definitely afford, and it wasn't going to break my bank to the point where I was just completely destitute. And that's just to the credit of the Fatherhood Support Network. So without going on and on and on about my experience, I'm just glad to say that currently my children and I, we're reunited, we live together, I'm raising my kids. And it was a nightmare that turned out to be okay. And thank you to the Fatherhood Support Network for helping me along the way and for being that silver lining in really a situation that was just a tough experience for me and my sons. All right, thank you very much. This is once again Eddie Crouch signing out. Take care.